trying to stay in the picture?
No, I'm getting ready to come out. You good? I'm going out. You ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Y'all have a good show.
How much time we got?
You got whatever you need, an hour, whatever you need.
Okay.
And your battery low.
I know I had it on the charger. I just wanted you to take a picture. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready. I mean, it ain't never no ready time. We just gonna dive in.
What happened to the...
Cousin, you gotta move over by the mic.
Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. It's your girl Nina, Coach Carter here with Kim Cherie. We here at Believe Radio Bay Area doing our recording. Our today's topic is keeping it true. You know how everybody want to keep it 100, and today we're going to talk about keeping it true. We're going to have some real conversation. It's going to be like y'all just invited to a conversation me and her finna have with invited guests. So we finna hit some topics. We're going to talk about a few things on this broadcast. And I've been knowing Kim for some years now. I mean, we go way back. She's one of them ones I used to run from, because every time she see me, she be like, "Oh, where are you going to get your degree?" And I'm like, "Girl, I ain't thinking about no degree. I'm doing here." So I guess back then she seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. So just from that, really watching her with her women's organization, I believe, for as I know, she was like the first woman to get a book together with more than 10, 15 women on it, you know, throughout the Bay Area, telling their stories. She have a lot of accomplishments. She was actually the first person that I really heard talking about life coaching. So today she is now a strategist. So just really following her career, monitoring her life. Y'all know me, I could learn from a tree, but I choose to learn from the people that I see, interact with, and try to pull something from everybody. So me and her has tag team with her daughter, you know, so we done been through some ups and downs, you know, through this process, and I wanted to bring her in because what I did promise was I was gonna bring people on this show that was real transparent and that was gonna have information for the community and life-changing situations. So this is our show today, and we're gonna keep it true on here. So everybody that's watching, chime in. You can put little questions and comments in the comment section. I would like for you to like, share this broadcast. Make sure you like it, share, and comment. So that way, even if you're not interested, somebody else might be interested. So just make sure we keeping it real. We are at a black studio, black females living our truth. And so we're gonna start this show by me asking her to tell the people who you are.
Alrighty, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and it's an honor. I am Kim Cherie.
Cherie.
Kim Cherie. Yes, that's a combination of my first name given by birth and my middle name given by birth, because as we all know, your last name can change many different times, but I'm always going to be Kim Cherie. So I go by Kim Cherie. Who am I? I am a woman of God. My relationship with God is very private. I don't believe I have to broadcast it for the world because it's between me and God. And last time I checked, none of my peers have a heaven and hell to put me in. So I don't feel that I have to broadcast my relationship about God, with God, because that's between me and him and it's private and it's personal. But I do have a relationship with God. A lot of my message is spiritually grounded, but psychologically driven.
See, I like that part.
Because, yes, I believe that our souls get saved, but not our experiences. And a lot of our experiences dictate the women we are. That's why we have some women when they were 5, they had trauma, and here they are at 50. But sometimes you see moments of them acting like they 5, but they 50. So it's more spiritually grounded and psychologically driven. With that being said, I am a life strategist, which is similar to a life coach. However, I did do life coaching certification, but I just decided to go back to school and go a little bit deeper to do centered healing life coaching, life strategies to help people really, everyone has the answers within themselves, to help them find the answers to all of our life situations, problems, what have you, because everyone has the answer in themselves. It's just that I went to school or am in school to understand the questions. We don't know, we're not trained to ask questions to ourselves, but when you sit with someone like myself, I'm trained to ask questions, not closed-ended questions, but questions that really make a person have a conversation and dig deep. So a lot of times I try to shy away from the question why. I like to ask a lot of what questions and how questions and where questions and what do you feel and how did that make you feel and how did it relate and show up in your body. So that's who I am. Prior to doing all of this, I was in a situation in life, a journey or a chapter in life, when the book come out, people could read it, where I was able to get out of the rat race of working every day and doing a single mom struggle, and I was able to be an at-home mom. And that opportunity of being an at-home mom, all of my friends and my peers, I was all at work. So I had all this time and I didn't know what to do with this time. I couldn't call everybody and talk on the phone because everybody was at work. Yes. So my husband at the time said, hey, what have you ever wanted to do? And I was like, coming from a domestic violence relationship, I would like to work with women who were in domestic violence situations. So I went and got training to become a domestic violence certified counselor, volunteered there for a couple of months, and then I decided, hey, I want to take it a little bit higher. I want to open up my own nonprofit. Yes. So I opened up and started from the bottom, from the ground up, Women on Pursuit. And Women on Pursuit was geared to bring events, information, and people to women, from women, for women, from all walks of life. It was not ran like a church. It was never intended to be ran like a church. It was just a place for women to come, evolve, and grow from each other's experiences. So I started that in my home, just having little groups and meeting other women that were in the empowerment field, inviting them to my home, inviting other women to my home, and doing vision board events, doing spoken word events, you name it. We shut down the movie theater and everybody came to the movie theater for breakfast, and then we watched the movie together, then did a Q&A. We shut down the shoe store in San Francisco and did shoe shopping in the city with my sisters, and then just the time to fellowship, and then went out to lunch. So we did an array of things, and that was what Women on Pursuit was. But in keeping it true, let's see, one of the final grand finales of Women Pursuit was creating an anthology book, where I compiled a book of 14 women, where the assignment was to go back in time in history, think of an event that shows up in your life as the woman you were at that moment, and how it impeded upon your progress or process moving forward in your goals. So we went through like a 9-month coaching therapy session. I had therapists on board, I had coaches on board. All of the different people in the prospective fields was there to help the women walk through that time. And going back in time sometimes can be painful, and it was. We kind of coined it after the butterfly effect. And so the women came together, wrote out their stories, and just as the butterfly, sometimes the butterfly makes it all the way out of the cocoon, and sometimes the butterfly dies in the cocoon. So I will say some of the 14 women got it, and some of the 14 women didn't get it. But those who got it, great. I watch them now on social media, and they're flying, and they're beautiful butterflies, and their wings are colorful. But after that, let's see, keeping it true, that's our topic,
Yeah,
right?
keeping it true.
After that thing, we had a book release. We had over 500 women come to the Hyatt in Concord, and Terry McMillan was our keynote speaker. After that, you know how they say all hell can break loose when you're doing God's work? Well, all hell broke loose. Long story short, me and my husband at the time, we went through a divorce. And some may say it was a public divorce. It was because at that time I was kind of gaining momentum. I was making my name. And so we went through this public divorce. And one of my mentors, Dr. Barbara Williams, I love her dearly. We once had a conversation, and she said, a wise woman knows when to sit herself down. And I was like, okay, at the time I didn't understand when she said that, but she would give me these little golden coins and I would keep them for future dates. So she said, a wise woman knows when to sit herself down. And so going through that, I was still trying to go through the divorce and still working, which I feel is my calling. But I know this stuff started coming up for me. And so I remember I had a client who kind of had some relationship problems, and she came to me and we were discussing it, and all I could hear in my mind was, girl, kill him. Nobody, no murder.
Right.
And so then I was like, okay, I gotta take a break. I gotta take a break because hurting people hurt people.
That's right.
I gotta take a break. So for the past couple of years, I kind of took a break, and I didn't take a break from the work, but I just took a break from the audience that I was dealing with, and I decided to go work over in the Tenderloin. So for the last couple of years, I have been doing a lot of work with families and young women in the Tenderloin, and I was working for Glide Community Housing, and I was one of their housing family specialists. So I got to interact with a lot of families and women over in the Tenderloin, and I did that for about maybe about 3 or 4 years, and then I decided, hey, eventually later I think I want to go teach at a JC, but I didn't have the experience of working with children from the ages of 18 and 24, which is general your junior college audience. So now I'm at an organization where I work with ages 18 to 24, but I work with foster youth that have aged out of the system. So we have 3 homes, and I manage all 3 of the homes. So it's still working in my field, but I'm now working with a different population.
I want to go back to that organization piece because me hearing your story, so I watched the transition.
Yes.
See, my feet wasn't in the water yet, but I paid attention, and then I end up following in your footsteps with Women Inspiring Women. After I seen how cutthroat women are when you create a platform for them, you know, and the struggle, when your heart is in it and you trying to give people the tools that you have learned, and then they take it and work against you, and they're seeing you going through that process and going through that, then into the divorce without the support system. So it's reminding me of my story, and then how people sabotage.
Yes.
And forget all the rent you done paid, all the car notes,
Absolutely.
all the times you done sat on the phone, wee hours of the night, you know,
Absolutely.
carrying them through their trauma, and it's as if they wait to have one up on you.
Absolutely.
So after seeing that, that's when I started paying attention to you transforming that into your professionalism. Because back then you was really operating and finding out your purpose, what your purpose was. So let's talk a little bit about how did that lead you into just going, picking up them books, saying, you know what, this trauma that they put on me, I need to know the other side. Because some stuff praying ain't gonna help.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You can pray all day, but them tools, either you gonna go back to the streets, or you gonna get some new tools in your toolbox.
Absolutely.
So when it happened to me, I wanted to take it to the streets because I wasn't, you know, it wasn't in me to go and try to learn about it. I want to bring the noise. So it was courageous of you to even go through all of that and said, you know what? I'm finna take this and build on that. So let's talk about the professional part of it, you transitioning into.
Absolutely, and that is so true, because everybody knows when you in the midst of the thick of it, you don't see the
No.
blessing.
Mhm.
You don't see the blessing.
You don't.
But when you, and for a long time, I had to really, after taking that sabbatical, I had to really sit back and look the woman in the mirror and
Mhm.
say, you know, everything that went kind of haywire was not just one person's fault. Everybody played a part in it.
Yes.
So I had to look at the parts that I played in it, and I had to take responsibility in the parts that I played in it. You know, and sometimes, and not even sometimes, looking at yourself and being truthful. Everybody talk about, oh, keep it 100, keep it 100, keep it 100. Bump, keep it 100. Keep it true. To
Right.
thy own self be true. You know what your weaknesses are. You know what your strengths are. You know what your addictions are. And each and every one of us, we got a weakness, we got a strength, and we got an addiction.
Yes.
You know what those things are. So keep it true to yourself. If you don't admit it to nobody else, admit it to yourself. And then from there, you can begin a healing if you're really open for a healing. And at that point, you know, what led me up to that point and understanding my calling, I knew I can't stay here. I mean, I hear you. I mean, we from the city. We from keep it from the field, Fillmore, K Street. I keep it from the street.
Right.
But I had to say, you know what? I'm bigger than this.
Yes.
And I'm bigger than that. I'm bigger than this, and I'm bigger than that. And I thank God, because I remember being a teen mom and having my very first apartment. I had Section 8 in San Francisco. And one of my caseworkers, Pat Kelso, was a Caucasian lady. And she would come out every year, do a Section 8 inspection, and she would tell me to get her briefcase and walk her to the car. I would walk her to the car with her briefcase. She'd take her briefcase, put it in the trunk, look at me, hold my face in her hands, and say, you're better than this, and you're better than that. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say, and I'll see you next year.
Wow.
And those was words that stuck
Seeds.
with me.
Seeds.
Seeds. I'm better than this, I'm better than that. Because it was plenty of times, you know, my ex-husband, he did some crazy things to me. And if you know me, you know some of the crazy things. We're not going to even get into because it's history. But it was plenty of times that I was like, you know what, I'm going to lay out my clothes. I'm going to have my red bottoms, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to go blow up the spot. But it seemed like every time when I would plan it, I would oversleep or something else would come up, and I could never stick to my plan. So yeah, we get there. You know, a lot of times you hear women say, "Oh, I just prayed about it."
Yeah.
Keep it real. Keep it true.
Yeah.
Before you prayed about it, you had 50 billion thoughts come to say how you gonna blow up the spot.
What you did was pray out of that with really acting on what you really wanted to do.
Right.
Yeah, that's why a lot of times when people say pray, sometimes prayer don't change things. And that's what people think, that you praying is going to change the thing. Sometimes through prayer, God is changing you to see that situation from a different perspective. So a lot of times we get fooled. Pray, just pray. No. Because sometimes he's working on you. That's just the test. So even when you started going to school, you still was raising a family.
Yes.
So how was that transition?
See, and so with all of that, before all of that happened, I was in school at the time, but just taking classes here and there. Then when the divorce thing came up, I kind of took a break from everything because my head was not in the game, and that was, you know, I had to really get true to myself. You know, like. Where are you going with this? What are you going to do? You going to sit here, you going to waddle in it, or you going to get up, get dressed, and put on your heels and walk this thing out? So it took a moment, but then I decided that, hey, Lord, you called me for a purpose, and I want to complete my purpose. That's my heart's desire, to complete the purpose in which you created me for. So I had to do the work of getting my mind right. I did go get me a therapist. And I worked with that therapist until it transformed, and I started therapy in her. But I did get a therapist. I did. And she suggests, oh, maybe you might need to take some medication. Yeah, I tried that too. I did, because I was really like a ticking time bomb that nobody knew. And if they hit it on the wrong day, my family teases me, there's Kim and Kimmy. A lot of women who know me as old, they don't know Kimmy. And from what I hear my family say, you don't want to meet Kimmy. But I had to really
Kill it.
work to keep Kimmy in Pandora's box. So working out all my stuff and really coming back to myself, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to do my trainings, I'm going to do, you know, a lot of times people get confused and they think schooling has to always be in an institution. Schooling, when you go to school and complete all these units and get this degree, that's for you. Because if you don't do it, I mean, if you don't do nothing with that degree, the degree ain't gonna work for itself.
Right.
You gotta put feet into it. And schooling is a whole bunch of hours where you're doing a lot of reading, and you're doing a lot of lectures, and you're doing a lot of writing. But sometimes if you're not in a situation where you can physically do an institutional education, formal education, read. Read. By the time I got to school, I had so many books on psychology. So when I was sitting in the classes and learning different concepts, I already knew it because I read. I'm a research person by nature. And I tell people, just read. If you want to learn something, now with social media, quit using social media to scroll through people's lives and use social media to learn something. It's anything you want to learn, you can go on YouTube.
Yes.
Any book, you can get a book and they can break it down, give you a synopsis of the book to tell it what it is. But it's how bad do you want to do it? People want to go the distance, but they don't want to pay for the flight.
That goes to my next question. Many people believe that going back to school at a certain age is challenging, to the point it becomes overwhelming and too much to handle. Why do you think people believe that?
Well, I didn't decide to go back to school until I was like in my mid-30s. I think I was like 35. And I have children, and my children, my job was to get you through high school. And then we talked about college, because college is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. And the Zuckerbergs and all of that, they prove to you college ain't for everybody, you know? So my thing was, when you're ready, there's a quote that say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I say, if this not something you won't want to do, then you're not going to do it. But if it's something you want to do, you will do it. You will learn how to manage a family and school and work. You will learn. If that's something you really is your heart's desire to do, you will make time, because we as women, we make time for what we want to make time for. So if that's something you really want to do, which you see the benefit, a lot of times you have to, well, not a lot of time, all the time, in order for us to do something as a people, you got to see the benefit. And if you see a benefit in you going to school, whether it's going to get you the credential you need to put you in a certain arena, or give you the licensure to do certain things, then of course you're going to see the benefit of that degree. But if you really don't see the benefit of that degree, then you're not going to do it. But it was a matter of me, you know, and I'm still not finished, because during the pandemic, I'm the type of person, to thy own self be true, I got ADHD, right? I can't sit here and watch a computer all day long. I need the accountability of having my butt in the seat at a specific time. So when I was in school finishing up, and when everything went online, I was like, I gotta take a break, because I can't do this. No matter how everybody, it's easier now, but it's easier for you. But I know me. I need structure, I need discipline, and I need accountability. And I didn't have that with an online thing.
And that's another topic, just that right there, because I know for years people always gave me identity. You know what I'm saying? They always tell me what I should and can't, and then as soon as I be like, that ain't gonna work for me, then they made it like I was making excuses for not doing stuff. So sometimes people really don't understand. You have to really know how you learn, how you process information. And people really get offended when you know who you are. Most of my fights have been from people trying to tell me who I was.
Absolutely.
You know, so just saying that right there, that was good. So what I want to jump into is this life coach thing.
Okay.
You know, because like I said, for me, I know Ayana Van Zett, she brought it nationally, but you were one of the first people that I heard say I'm a certified life coach. I never knew what that was, but I watched you transitioning with helping women through using those tools. And then when I got hired at my current job, they sent me through a life coach course, and I became a community life coach, not a people life coach, but more so community, because that's the path God was leading me down to, more so impact the community that I kind of like destroyed. So even going through that life coach training, like I tell people, because every woman that works under me under Bonafide Sisterhood, that's a part of my team, they have to go through that life coaching. Because that life coaching hit me first.
Absolutely.
So when people tell me they're a life coach and I'm not seeing no fruits of your growth,
Right.
then I'm like, what curriculum and what life coaching criteria did you use? Because that you have to address every unresolved issue in your life. Going through that, it's gonna come through the forefront. So transitioning from, I'm glad you said you was a life strategist, because now life coaching is a title and it comes with chasing a bag. And I always tell people, if you gotta chase money, then you ain't mature enough to have it, because you shouldn't be chasing no bag.
No. What the Bible says,
Why is the
your
bag running
gifts
from
will
you?
make room for you.
Yeah, and draw you before
Right.
great men. So that's another thing. So I want to hit on that life coach, because every time I deal with, well, I want to be a life coach, I want to be a life coach, but have you coach your own life.
Your own life.
So let's talk about this life coach.
And I'm glad you brought that up, and so we can, part of your show is educating people. So let's start off with the foundation. Life coaching at the moment, and I say at the moment because soon as the government find a way to get their hands involved, they will. But life coaching at the moment is not something that requires licensure. So therefore, as a life coach, you can't put up a shingle and take money from somebody's insurance because it doesn't have that licensure. It's not something that's regulated under the state of California behavioral science. So that's the first thing about life coaching. Secondly, about life coaching, everybody and their mama can be a life coach. Everybody in whoever can wake up, I'm a life coach, I'm a life coach, I'm a life coach. One of the requirements of life coaches, you would think, if you raised 25 chickens and they was successful and they was golden chickens, then you gonna coach me on how to raise 25. But if you ain't raised 25 chickens, how you gonna coach me and you don't even own a chicken? Okay, so that's another thing about life coaching. But everybody come up with life coaching. And you can see advertise, become a life coach for $47, come a life coach for $57, come a life coach in $27. Once again, life coaching is not something that's governed by the government now, so different people can offer different things. But a real replicable life coaching certification is one that you will be getting certification through the International Coaching Foundation, and it's another one. It slips my mind, but it's another one. But
And that's mine, and it's accredited.
And it's accredited.
Mine is through Leadership That Works, and it costs about $5,000.
Absolutely, and that's what I was going to say. So, and the difference between those life coaching certifications and some life is the price. Because for that ICF Foundation certification, you're not gonna get that class or that training for less than $7,500, $6,500. So that's one of the difference. So if people say, "Oh, girl, I did this life coaching for $27," okay, I'm pretty sure you not doing the basics, but that's one myth about life coaching. And then also just my journey to life coaching was during that time when I was able to be an at-home mom and all of my girlfriends was at work. I know why now that happened, because that was a time for me to learn myself. And that was the time for me to get, because God had a greater calling, but in order for him to move me forward into that calling, he had to get with me first. I had to look that woman in the mirror and to thy own self be true. And so I went for coaching for myself. I signed up for a coaching thing that I went to, and it was like the whole weekend. I had to check in the hotel on a Thursday, and I didn't check out to that Sunday night. I mean, and they really drilled down and drilled in on some things. And at that point, after going through the whole process, they was like, Kim, you would make a wonderful life coach. And I was like, what? I didn't come here to become a coach. I came here to be coached. I wanted to be a coach. And then they was like, you know, we have the ability, we can certify you, and all that. So then I took the additional courses, and then that's how I got certified out of this organization out of LA back in 2010, about 2011, and since then I had opened up a Beautiful Mind life coaching group, and I was doing life coaching and, you know, all of that other stuff that led up to the divorce. And then since then, I'm actually in a program now where I'm trying to obtain my master's certification, because now I'm switching over more into the holistic part of it. So I'm going for certification now through Blooming Willow Coaching to become a master certified center healing. Leslie Amont. Yes.
That was one of mine.
Yes, so
I was with her for 5 months.
For 5 months,
girl
yes.
bad.
Yes,
That
she's
girl
bad.
bad.
So
Yeah.
learning how to bring the holistic part of it, where, you know, in the spiritual realm, if you mention yoga to certain people, they be like, oh, that's witchcraft. No, that's your ignorance. Let's educate you before you so quick to call something witchcraft. Yoga is really getting in tune with your body. With your body, and understanding and being able, because our body was created to give us signs and warnings before things happen. But if you're not in tune and you're not grounded and you're not aligned with your body, you don't know.
Yes.
That's why people can go to the doctors and say, oh, you at stage 4 cancer. You had warning signs, but you so busy doing that you didn't pay attention to the warning signs. So in that holistic life coaching approach, it helps you to get grounded within self. You know, every time you look around, everybody doing. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
Busy and non-productive. That's what I call
What
it.
happened to the being? And that centered coaching helps people to get grounded, take a pause, and say, let me move from doing and let me get into the being. And so really, you know, my goal and in coaching, I'm sure with Leslie, you learn a coaching stance. My coaching stand is a lighthouse. And the coaching stance is like your analogy of what you see yourself as. And I see myself as a lighthouse. And people say, oh, what is your purpose? My purpose, what I know my purpose is, I believe that each and every one of us are lights that were born into the world. But as we go through life experiences and life traumas, our candles get blown out. My job is to come along and relight your flame.
That's right.
And then after I relight your flame, I'm gone. Now, if your flame shine bright and whatever, and you exceed me, I don't care. Because I just was supposed to relight your flame, and I don't look for your praises from you. I don't look for your monetary, because God blesses me on everything I need. I don't want for no shoes. I don't want for clothing. I don't want for shelter. I don't want for nothing. When gas is high, I praise God, because I don't have to budget my gas. I get in my car anytime I want to, and I fill it up when I want to. Because God blesses me because I do what He's called me to do, which is light the flames.
Can we go back? Because you skated through that little part. I believe that I am to duplicate myself and others so you can advance past me. So you just spoke to that, but you just skated through it, and I don't understand why people don't get that part. If I'm right here, and you call me your mentor or somebody you look up to, my expectations is for you to go to the next level.
To go higher.
So how will I be a hater if I'm expecting you? Now, I will cut you off and not deal with you if you start draining me, because I see you just disregarding what I got to do for myself, because we have assignments. And that's what I always tell people, know the difference between a friendship and assignment.
Absolutely.
And sometimes people want to be your friend, but I know your assignment. So my job is to get you to that next place of elevation but then it becomes a fight. So
Mhm.
can you speak to that mental capacity or whatever that is that make women, instead of allowing you to push them where you see they could go, or however, whatever your assignment is in their life, for them to just take the assignment and not
Or
take it personal
personal.
against me, because I gotta be obedient to my next assignment. So sometimes I can't carry you all the
So
way.
I kind of hear a two-part question.
Okay,
So
come on.
the first part question I hear is, you, like myself, know that you're here to
Mhm.
excel others and push others.
Mhm.
And then how come is it once they get higher, they kind of get an attitude like, oh, she jealous of me?
Yes.
No, okay, so let's answer that one. So that one, I say, let's take it back to thy own self be true.
Mhm.
Because you know what, if I pushed you and you went up here, and then later on you looking back at me and thinking I'm jealous of you or whatever, then to thy own self, you're not really true. Because all of that stuff is coming from a place that I didn't have nothing to do with. You, all that jealousy, if I gave you all of the information, I gave you all the key samples, why am I jealous of you? So your perception is warped, and right now I'm at a place and point in my life where I say, you know what, my mental energy is above your pay grade, so you keep that energy.
You know
do
that
whatever.
being at that place stopped me from even, I shut down Women Inspiring Women, and I didn't do nothing to bona fide sisterhood for 5 years.
But then I hear what you're saying, because with Women on Pursuit, I was like, I'm done. But then God had to deal with me in my
He beat
sabbatical.
me up. He
Yes.
stripped me.
And he told me, he said, who's doing all the work? I said, you doing all the work. I'm the vessel. He said, okay, if I'm doing all the work, do what I told you to do, and let it be. And let it be. You do what you were called to do what you were supposed to do. And the women who get it, if you sit back and just watch, they gonna either flow like a butterfly, or they gonna shrivel away like a little cocoon, and that little, like a little caterpillar. Because you will see. So God said, quit looking for you, or looking for the praise or the accolades from them, when all you should be worried about is the praise and the accolades from me. So I had to take my eyes off of them and keep my eyes on him. Like when they were standing on the water, when they got scared, they took their eyes off of him. So when you take, he said, when you worrying about what they saying, or what, you done took your eyes off of me. Just do what I told you to do, and I'm gonna do the rest. You don't even know the end of the story. I know the end of the story. So just dealing with that, I just, a lot of times I see women and I just meet them where they are and be like, oh, okay.
Well, that's what I have matured into today. But it took me a long time to get there, because first of all, I didn't like women.
Right,
You
but
know.
then also, you know what else? Knowing your audience. No, and then that's something I had to learn too. I think when I first started out, the audience that I was working with was not my audience. Was not my audience. Those are not the people that I was called to serve. But I was thinking, because that was kind of like
That
my
was your-
circle, my background, and a lot of them
Same
was in the church, and whatever that. And the Lord told me, they sat in church services just like you did, and if they ain't got it by now, they ain't gonna get it. So I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about this group of people over here, and these are the people that I called you to. So once again, that's my favorite quote: when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So those people who are ready for me are gonna be the student, and I'm gonna be the teacher, and they're gonna be grateful for what they get. But if I'm trying to work over here with people that really I'm not even called to, that I know is not my audience, there's gonna be a lot of kickback. There's gonna be a lot of hesitation. There's gonna be a lot of drama. It's gonna be a lot of mess. So the Lord said, no, you stick to what I told you to do. And those other, know your audience. And that's all about learning yourself. And then I'm sure you had to sit with yourself and learn people and learn. I'm not called for everybody. I'm not called for everybody.
And then in that's when I learned that most of my life I was wearing a mask. because it wasn't even who I was. You know, so when God shut me down from that because my disobedience, because I just, you know, I walk away from stuff because I'm not mature enough. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't mature enough to just let it go without it being something other. So in that, I just walk away. I don't care how much I'm invested in it. I don't care what it is. If it caused too much friction, with me, I'm walking away from it. And then God started really stripping me of everything. So it was like, to me, that's when most of the attacks came. And I'm looking back, how dare you attack me when, you know, when you was here?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm the one who pulled you up, or I'm the one who introduced you to this. So just going through that,
but then there was a
process.
lesson in that for
It
you
was-
to see other people, because
Yes.
in that I was able to see other people.
Mhm.
And like Maya Angelou says, when people show you who they are,
Believe 'em.
believe them. And so working in the midst of that, I didn't really get to see people for their true value. I seen them for their face value. But then even going through my whole divorce and that whole ordeal and seeing how people operated, that's what I was saying. Sometimes when we in it, we can't see the blessing. But now looking back, I could read the whole lesson like I'm reading a script where certain people, God allows them to do certain things to you.
Yes.
So you can really see their true character and you can really know how to place them in your audience the next time around. So the next time around, there's a lot of people that, baby,
Right.
they won't be having backstage passes. They won't be in the green room.
Right.
They'll be in the nosebleed
Right.
seats now.
Right. And that's and it's crazy because my mentor, Andrea Clark, is what she pulled my coattail. But she sit back and watch me. She'll watch me go all the way into the wall and try to break through it. And then she'll send me one little message or call me on the phone. I need to see you. And she said, stop doing everything and see who moves. Stop doing everything and see who moves. Because you attract peasants. She said it just like that. And I'm like, I'm like, well, I'm trying to do what people didn't do for me, and I want to help people and this and that. She said, no, sit back and don't do nothing.
And then sometimes you gotta remember when in that passage where the man was trying to get healed, and then Jesus asked him, do he really want to be healed? And then the disciples got offended. Well, a lot of times, this is what I feel. Women, we wanna look the part. That's why people say, I don't care what people say about me or what. Yes, you do. Because that's why when you walk out the door, you make that stop at the mirror and you look. Because that's just who we are. It's in our nature. However, what happens is we get so in tune on trying to look the part that because it sounds politically correct, I want to be healed, I want to be whole, I want to be free. But then you have to really get to the root and say, do you really want to be healed? Or are you just saying that because that's the new fad and that's what everybody's doing? And you can tell the worker bees from the wannabes. Because the worker bees going to do the work, and the wannabes is going to be the ones keeping up all of the dust.
And that's what she showed me. And then I was like, oh, you right. Because if I don't make initiative or do nothing, ain't nothing going to happen. So at that point, I had to reevaluate the people that I was surrounding myself. So what I actually did was find myself by myself. And then I got comfortable with being me. So now it's like trying not to do it to the ones that God is sending now to be a support. Because oftentimes we take, even in relationships, we take that hurt, trauma, and everything that somebody else put on us and put that wall up. And be like, okay, you're doing too much. You know what I'm saying? What's your motive? You know, and that's been my thing for the last, why you trying to help me? Why you trying? Because there was so much damage done, you know, through them years. So when she said that, I really had to go back, because I don't have a problem going back to that same place and say, okay, that's a sign that it's still something there.
And that's the uniqueness about coaching. In coaching, my job is to it's all on you.
Mhm.
That's why the first session, I'm gonna say, okay, so what do you want to
Yeah.
talk about today?
Mhm.
Because it's led by the client. It's
Mhm.
all your agenda. I'm just holding that sacred,
Mhm.
safe place for you, and I'm gonna ask you the questions that you're not trained to ask yourself, but I'm trained to ask you to make you think and dig deep and drill down inside yourself. But it's all led. A real true coach is not going to interject their opinion, oh, well, you should do that. No, they're not. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to help you to listen to what you need to do, because you know what you need to do, but sometimes we need to hear it for ourselves. But a true coaching session is led by the client. It's the client's agenda. And that's why I only deal with people who come to me and say, hey, I need coaching. If I see somebody that need coaching, at first I used to be like, oh, I'm gonna give you a session, but I don't even do that no more. I was like, I don't do that, because you didn't ask me, and one of my gifts is I can see people's potential. I can see people's potential. They can be here, but I can see them way down here. That is my gift. I can see women's potential. I can sit with a woman and I can give her a whole list of ideas of what she should do to make her a success, because I can see people's potential.
And that's what Leslie did for me.
Mm-hmm.
She broke that in me, because that was my thing, because I could see it. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to give you all the tools and help you get there, and they not really processing.
They not ready.
So through my 5 months of coaching, she taught me that, because that's what I was doing. No, girl, I see you doing this. Let's do this. Let's do your business plan, and they ain't putting nothing into it, and then you wonder why you burnt out. Because you doing all the work for somebody who don't even see themselves where you see them at.
And let's flip it. Let's flip it. That's something that came up. Most women, because we are the givers of life, we're not the creators of life. Listen, we're the givers of life. We can see potential. We do have that intuitive thing to see potential. And now trying to get back on a little bit topic of relationships, that's why a lot of women get into toxic relationships with men, because you're not in love with that man that you see, you in love with that potential. But baby, until that potential meet the man that you see, you gonna deal with the man that you see.
Yes, that process.
And if you don't know your gift, and you don't know how to balance out that intuition or that potential that you see, you will be going around a circle with somebody that
the potential might not never manifest.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you will find yourself working tirelessly trying to bring him to that potential when he not ready for that potential. So a lot of crazy relationships is based because you got to be true with yourself. Am I in love with the person I see before me, or I'm in love with this vision or this version that I know he could be?
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. So yeah, just that right there was one of my issues as well, seeing potential in men. You know what I'm saying? Like, girl, what do you mean? Even if we take it back to the streets, that's all you getting? Oh, let me hook you up with so and so now, because we finna make that happen. You know, so it's been that, and a lot of that comes from the trauma.
Right.
So let's transition into. Before we get out of here, I just want to touch on what you said when we first started, about you being a woman of God, and it don't have to be on display. Let's talk about this spiritual and this psychological, because for some reason, I could admit I was the most miserable person once I got saved. I used to try to go back and find Nina so bad, because that walk to salvation was the hardest thing for me, because wasn't that in the church healing my trauma.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I struggled, and I would jump from church to church to church, not realizing that I needed an understanding of how I function and flow, and I wasn't getting that in the church. So let's touch on that for a minute.
Okay.
Because I know I'm not the only one
No,
pushing
and
in the
the
church
church-
every Sunday, like, Lord, I'm tired of routine, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of that. Then I'm trying to beat myself up, like, well, maybe you need to go pray, or maybe you need to fast. No, I need to It has to be some kind of balance there. It has to be
Absolutely,
something.
absolutely.
Let's touch on that.
And that's funny because, for those who know me, my dad was a preacher. So I guess I'm a PK kid. My dad was a preacher, raised in Church of God in Christ. I mean, my mother and father was strict Kojic, okay? Strict Kojic. I didn't get to wear pants. When I got in high school, I was the one that had my auntie buy me pants, and I would put them in my backpack and change at school and come back home and have on my skirt. But in getting real with myself and being raised in the church and understanding the church and going through a lot of different things in life because of church doctrine and church rituals and all of that, I had to get to a place in my life as an adult and take responsibility as an adult and become a free thinker. And in becoming a free thinker, I had to look religion. Kirk Franklin said it best, that you have to unlearn religion sometimes. And I had to unlearn the religion. And when I think of religion, I don't think of Christianity. I think of the rituals that we go through and learn in church. And I had to unlearn all of that, and I had to build upon a relationship. And going to church and being a member at a church, you can do that 10,000 years, 52 Sundays, and still find yourself with a VIP ticket to hell because it's all about what's in your heart. But you know the whole routine. You can speak in tongues, you can speak, you can preach and all of that, but you gotta remember, gifts come without repentance. So, you can do all of the stuff that the church do, but it's all about being true and being real in your heart. And so I had to really learn how to separate the two and look at spiritual and psychological. Psychological is my behavior, is my soul, is the essence of who I am. Because your spirit, your body, and your soul. My spirit is what is connected to God and all of that. My soul is the essence of who I am. That's my mind, my thoughts, and my beliefs. So I had to learn how to separate the two and look at my soul, which is my mind, my thoughts, my beliefs, which work in the psychological, analytical world, and then my spirit. Although my spirit a lot of times wanted to do a lot of different things, my soul wouldn't allow me to do the things because I was all experience. You take life experiences, you take life events, you take all of that. That can really take your soul on a whirlwind. And so when you kind of mix all of that with religion and you really don't understand the psychological part, spiritual becomes an addiction. It becomes addiction. And when you say addiction, addiction is the something you do in excess that really causes you grief and causes you pain. And people get that confused because addiction is the symptom, but your drug of choice could be going to church, your drug of choice could be shopping, it could be sex, it could be food, it could be whatever. And so just really learning how to separate that. And then when I really was able to separate the two, I began to build a relationship, a foundation with me and God. And me talking to him and him talking to me, and not putting all the other stuff in it, like, oh, if you miss 3 Sundays, you backslid. How you know what I did? How you know what I did? Where in the Bible it tells me that you got a heaven and hell to put me in? You don't. So that's between me and God, because just because you went to the building, I could have sat at home and had praise and worship and did whatever and got more in my hour than you did in your 3 hours. So don't, what the Bible says, don't judge me. Judge ye not, for ye be judged in the same manner. So don't worry about me, because when you die, God ain't going to ask you about Kim. He going to ask you about Nina, not me. So just really learning how to separate the two. And then I just kind of watching the whole church circuit in the Bay Area. I mean, people gonna probably laugh. I call the church circuit in the Bay Area the Chitlin circuit. So watching the church, remember there's a difference between church and Christians. Watching the church circuit, some of the stuff I be sit back and I'm like in awe, like, do it really take all of that? You so worry about the accolades and the praises and stuff from people that what about your relationship? And just really just separating the two and understanding it's what's in my behavior. You can say all of the right things, you can preach a good word, but don't understand that your behavior and the words that come out tells the truth. And that's how I look at people, and that's how I base how I'm gonna deal with a person. I don't listen to what people say. I watch their behavior. And when it's a contradiction between what you saying and how I see your behavior, that makes me sit back and be like, okay, whoa, Nelly. But you have to understand that they work simultaneously. You got to understand psychological concepts and merge it with spiritual concepts. And when you merge them together, not only you going to be an awesome Christian, you can be an effective Christian because you can understand people. You know, when we get saved, our souls get saved, not your experiences. That's why you could be saved in the church, be a minister, got all these accolades under your name of all these Bible courses you took, and was a crackhead.
Right.
And I'm going to just keep it 100. I had a boyfriend that used to sell drugs, so I know what weed and marijuana smell like, that sweet aroma. And if you was a crackhead and whatever, and you've been saved for 50 years because your experience don't get saved, when you smell that aroma, it takes you right back to that scene, that picture. You can look around and whatever, because your experiences don't get saved. So at what point as a Christian do we have to say, let me deal with the psychological things? You know, if you was being molested by a man when you was a child and you saved now, but he had a certain perfume on or cologne on, those are triggers. So talk about those triggers, because those trigger experiences don't get saved. And a lot of times we hide that in the church underneath, oh, I'm saved, I'm sanctified, I'm filled with the Holy Ghost.
But you hiding it, but you damaging people.
But you damaging people.
Because you come in as a reminder, because when the new saints come in the church, they are coming to learn, but they remind you of what you done slid under the carpet. And that's where a lot of the church hurt comes in. So I just wanted to speak on that, because in that's when you find yourself free.
Right.
See, now I'm at a free place.
A free place.
Because it was the hardest thing for me was because I feel that I'm a person that I know how to submit under authority. So if I respect you, then I don't have no problem with walking with you, walking beside you, or whatever. But I found myself in a routine of doing that, but I wasn't free.
Right.
See, and once you get free, then you set the standard of how you gonna move with your Christianity, because now it's that relationship. So I gotta be more obedient to what God is saying, not what you saying, because you only really could deal with me based on your experience and what you've been exposed. That's your level of how you run your ministry.
Absolutely.
But I have different experiences and stuff I've been exposed to, so sometimes it don't work. It don't work, so just learning how to be free is what where I've been for the last couple of years, and that's like the best place to be.
And you have the Bible says, "Whom the Spirit sets free is free indeed." So therefore, you my pastor. I respect you as being my pastor. I expect you as being the shepherd of our house. But how are you, my pastor, gonna have so much authority that you can tell me when to use my gift? If my gift is the gift of dance, you tell me, oh, you can't go dance today because you need to say that for the church. No, that's giving a man too much power. If God gave you a gift, who said that man has to control it? But it's a matter of, like we say, going back to yourself, doing the work inside of yourself, and to thy own self be true.
Well, we're going to end on that note right there, to our own self be true. So I want you to tell the people, in this camera, tell the people pretty much how they could get in contact with you, your information, and I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you, Nina.
I really
It's been
appreciate this
awesome
conversation, and I think people will get a lot out of it if they just listen and pay attention. And this is what I want this platform to be. It's okay to learn. I'm a sponge. I love to be around people that I can learn for. I look forward to learning something every day, so I appreciate you. So let them know how they could get in contact with you.
Okay, so as I stated earlier, I have been in my little hiatus. So I am working on some things now to come out of my hiatus, and I actually have my team working on websites now. But I can be reached at Kim Cherie on Facebook for now, and then later on we will. I think they have the whole line but I don't know what my actual email address is. But right now you can find me on Facebook under Kim Cherie, and my email address is kimcherie65@gmail.com.
And I want to thank everybody for watching us today. Again, we are on Believe Radio, Bay Area station, Black On. This is a 24-hour Christian-based radio, so you can tune in and listen to your gospel music. And you could reach me at believeradioninac@gmail.com if you would like to be a guest, want some type of sponsorship, need advertisement. So you could get at your girl. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So y'all listening in, how does it sound?
Y'all sounded good.
Okay. Good.
Good.
Oh, so we went a whole hour and 2
Oh, we
minutes.
did, but I told you, I said, Nina, come on, me and you together. Right.
Whew. That's good, that's good.
That was good. But yes, Leslie is awesome, huh?
Yes, I love Leslie. She don't be playing. She know her stuff too. I
So
was
you
trying to
did
get
the
you some.
community one.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm doing her.
Yeah, she got her own personal.
The other one.
Yeah, I
the
was like
personal
her last
individual.
group before she
Okay,
birthed
yeah.
hers.
Mhm.
Yep.
So
That
that's
was,
what we're doing
yep,
now.
yep.
And
So,
I'm
yeah.
like, it's intense. It's
Yeah.
real
Oh, yeah,
intense.
she don't play.
She don't play.
Yeah, soon as I graduated, she gave me, she said, okay, well, I'm putting you on my team. And she ain't playing, she gonna put you to work, she gonna put you to work.
Cause I was like, oh my God, cause she's like, Kim, what is your goal? I said, my goal is to leave my job and do what you're doing so I can move and go wherever I wanna be, but know my job is right there in my bag.
Right,
And she's like, well, we got you, we gonna do that.
She
And I'm
gonna
like,
do it,
"That's it."
I love her.
All righty, well,
Okay,
now I'm
thank
gonna
you.
get ready to go,
All
get me some food.
So, you ready?
Did you check in with Shanoria yet?
No.
Please do.
Well, it's her
Papa
phone
back.
number. The one I called, it said it don't work.
Oh, I didn't even tell you, Papa back. He called me.
Oh, he back?
He said, I'm back. Romisha brought him. Her number is, let's
Oh,
see.
he been gone a long time.
He been gone a long time.
Now my son down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
925-732-2467.
Okay.
I heard she working.
Okay, I'm gonna find out when.
My mama said where? I said, don't give me the line. I don't know. Okay.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, nice meeting you. Hello? You still in here? Okay, come in. Is that hair like that red one you bought? The one you got on? Oh,
I got this one from a beautiful light. I got the other one from, off of Amazon.
Great show. Oh, that was a great show. Good God Almighty.
think so?
Oh man, Leonard and everybody heard y'all on that show. Did you stop your live over here yet?
No,
Oh, you ready to stop it?
yeah.
That was a great show. Y'all